Hey, English learners, welcome back to the podcast, your cozy little corner of the internet where we learn real English together, one easy conversation at a time. I'm Sarah, and before we jump in today, I have to tell you something a little embarrassing. Last weekend, I had the most beautiful plan. I wrote it in my notebook. I even used colored pens. Saturday morning, gym, then a nice walk, then cook something healthy. Sunday, read a book, call my mom, maybe do a little journaling. Beautiful, right? You know what actually happened? Saturday morning, I turned off my alarm. Twice. Then I watched cooking videos on my phone for 1 hour. Not cooking, watching cooking. Big difference. Then I ordered food because watching cooking videos made me hungry. Then I told myself, okay, the walk. I'll go for a walk. I put on my shoes. I sat down on the sofa with my shoes on, and I fell asleep. With my shoes on. Sunday was a little better. I did call my mom, but the book, still sitting on my table. The journaling, zero. The healthy cooking, I had cereal for dinner. And on Sunday night, I sat there and I thought, how did the weekend go so fast? What did I even do? Maybe you know that feeling. Maybe your weekend looked a little different. Maybe you were busy. Maybe you were tired. Maybe you had plans that changed. Or maybe, like me, you had a very ambitious notebook plan that stayed in the notebook. Either way, you're here now, and that's what matters. So welcome. If you're listening in the morning, good morning. If it's afternoon or late at night, hello. I'm glad you're here too. Maybe you're making tea, maybe you're on the bus, maybe you're lying down with your phone on your face. Wherever you are, this episode is for you. Today we're going to talk about something you use every single week, but maybe never practice in English. Talking about your weekend. It sounds simple, right? But think about it. How many times has someone asked you, so what did you do this weekend? And you said, good, fine, nothing much. And then the conversation ended. That happens because we don't have the words ready. Not because our weekend was boring, because the language wasn't there in that moment. After today, that changes. We're going to talk about how to describe your weekend naturally, how to make even a quiet weekend sound interesting, how to ask someone about their weekend and keep the conversation going. And at the end, we'll have our word tour, where we walk slowly through the most useful words and phrases from today so you can actually use them in your life. This is a B1 level episode, so if you're intermediate, perfect. If you're A2, stay with me, you will understand more than you think. And if some parts feel fast, you can always listen again. The second time always feels easier, I promise. And one small thing before we start, if this podcast helps you, please like this episode and subscribe to the channel. It really does make a difference. Every like, every subscribe, every share helps more learners like you find this little corner of the internet. And I love reading your comments, so after you listen, come say hello. Okay, let's talk about weekends. Part 1. Why weekends are hard to talk about in English. So here's the funny thing about weekends. In your own language, you can describe your weekend in 100 different ways. You can say it was relaxing, or exhausting, or chaotic, or sweet, or completely wasted. You have all the words. But in English, many learners get stuck at it was good, or I stayed home, or nothing special. And then they feel embarrassed, like their weekend was boring. But that's not the problem. The problem is they don't have the vocabulary bridge yet. A vocabulary bridge, I love this idea. It's the language that takes the thought from your head and builds a path to the other person. Without the bridge, the thought stays stuck inside you. Today, we are building that bridge together. And here's something important I want you to remember. You don't need a dramatic weekend to have a good conversation about it. You don't need to say, oh, I went skydiving and then I cooked a 5-course dinner and then I ran a marathon. No, the most natural, interesting weekend conversations are simple ones. They're honest. They have small details. They have a little feeling inside them. For example, I had a pretty lazy weekend, honestly. Saturday I slept in, which I really needed. Then I went for a walk in the evening and it was actually really nice. Sunday I tried to cook something new and it went okay. Not great, but okay. That's it. That's a great answer. It has a feeling, lazy, honest. It has one little story, the walk, the cooking experiment. It has a small, relatable detail, not great, but okay. That's all you need. So let's learn how to build that, step by step. Part 2, how to start talking about your weekend. The first thing you need is a simple opener. A way to begin your answer that sounds natural, not like you're reciting from a textbook. Here are some natural openers. Say them with me if you want. It was a pretty quiet weekend, actually. Honestly, it was a bit of a lazy one. Oh, it was actually really nice. It was a bit of a mixed one, some good parts, some not so good. Nothing too exciting, but it was good. It was busy. I barely had a moment to sit down. Notice something about these sentences. They all have a small feeling word inside. Quiet, lazy, nice, mixed, busy. That one word does a lot of work. It gives the other person an idea of your weekend before you even explain anything. And it makes your answer sound real and human, not like a list. So your first job when someone asks, "How was your weekend?" is to find your feeling word. Was it relaxing, stressful, fun, boring, productive, chaotic, sweet, long, short, slow? Just find one word. That's your opener. And here's a little trick. You can use the word actually or honestly at the beginning. These small words make your answer sound more natural and conversational. Honestly, it was a pretty lazy weekend. Actually, it was busier than I expected. Try it. It immediately sounds less like a textbook answer. Part 3, talking about what you did. Okay, so you have your opener. Now you need to describe what you actually did. And for this, we use the past simple tense. Now I know, past simple. Some of you just made a face. But don't worry, we're going to keep it very natural and very simple. The basic structure is this. On Saturday, I plus verb. On Sunday, I plus verb. That's it. On Saturday, I went to the market. On Sunday, I visited my friend. On Saturday morning, I slept in. In the afternoon, I watched a film. On Sunday evening, I called my sister. You can also use time words to organize your weekend. In the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night. These little words help the other person follow your story. They make your answer feel organized without being stiff. Let me give you a full example now. A natural, complete weekend description. Honestly, it was a pretty relaxed weekend. On Saturday, I slept in, which I really needed, and then in the afternoon, I went to a little market near my house. I bought some vegetables and some fresh bread. Then in the evening, I cooked at home. It wasn't anything special, but it was really nice. Sunday was quieter. I just stayed home, did a bit of cleaning, and watched a film in the evening. A pretty simple weekend, but I feel rested now. Did you notice? That answer has a feeling opener, time words, 2 small stories, a tiny personal detail, and a closing feeling at the end. It sounds warm, it sounds real, and it used very simple vocabulary. You can do exactly the same thing. You just swap in your own weekend details. Part 4, making even a quiet weekend sound interesting. Okay, now here's something I want to talk about because I think it's important. Many learners think, my weekend was boring. I have nothing to say. But I really disagree with this, and here's why. A boring weekend is still full of small moments, and small moments, described with a little feeling, are interesting. Think about it. What did you actually do this weekend? Even the small things. Did you sleep in? Did you drink a nice cup of coffee in the morning? Did you watch something on your phone? Did you go outside for a little bit? Did you cook something, order food, talk to someone, read something, see something beautiful out the window? Any of those things can be a small story. Here's the secret. The secret is adding a small feeling or a small detail to the thing you did. Not just, I watched a film, but I watched this old film I'd been meaning to watch for ages, and it was actually really good. Not just, I stayed home, but I stayed home all day, which sounds lazy, but honestly, I really needed it. Not just, I had coffee, but I made a really good cup of coffee Saturday morning, and I just sat by the window for a while. That was honestly the best part of my weekend. You see, the moment becomes a story, a small story, but a warm one. And people connect to that. They relate to it, because everyone has had a Saturday morning with a good cup of coffee. Everyone has had a weekend where doing nothing was exactly what they needed. That's real conversation. That's connection. So don't apologize for your quiet weekend. Describe it honestly with a little feeling, and it becomes something beautiful. Part 5. Asking about someone else's weekend. Okay, so now you can answer the question. But conversation is not one person talking. It goes back and forth. So let's learn how to ask someone about their weekend and how to keep that conversation going. The basic question is simple. How was your weekend? Did you do anything fun this weekend? What did you get up to this weekend? That last one, what did you get up to, is very natural and very common in everyday English. Get up to means what did you do? It's casual and friendly. Now, after they answer, your job is to respond and then ask a follow-up question. A follow-up question shows you're listening. It keeps the conversation alive. Here are some natural follow-up questions. Oh, whereabouts did you go? If they mentioned going somewhere. Was it good? Simple but effective. Had you been there before? Who did you go with? Oh, what did you watch? If they mentioned a film or show. Did you enjoy it? Is that a new place? What was the food like? Oh, how did it go? If they tried something new. You don't need to ask all of these, just one. One follow-up question is enough to show interest and keep things moving. Let me show you a full mini conversation. A, how was your weekend? B, it was actually really nice. I went to this little cafe I'd never been to before, had a really good coffee and just sat there for a while. A, oh nice, was it a new place? B, yeah, just opened I think. It was really cozy. A, I love finding new places like that. Short, natural, warm, that's it. That's a real conversation. And notice, person A only asked one follow-up question, but it was enough. The conversation moved forward naturally. Part 6. When your weekend was not great. Sometimes your weekend was hard, tiring, stressful, or just a bit flat. And that's real life. That's also worth knowing how to express in English. Here are some honest ways to say your weekend wasn't great. Honestly, it was a bit of a rough one. It was quite tiring, actually. It was a bit stressful. I had a lot going on. Not my best weekend, to be honest. It was okay, nothing special. I was pretty tired. I didn't really do much. I wasn't feeling great. These are honest, natural, and completely acceptable things to say. You don't have to pretend your weekend was wonderful when it wasn't. And the beautiful thing is, expressing a hard weekend can actually lead to a warmer conversation than a perfect one. Because when you say, honestly, it was a bit of a rough week and the weekend was just recovery time, the other person often says, oh, I know that feeling. And suddenly you have a real connection. Vulnerability, sharing something real and honest, is one of the most powerful conversation tools there is. So don't hide your tired Saturdays, share them. Part 7, a little mission for you. Okay, before we go to word tour, I want to give you a tiny mission. Just one small thing, very simple. Think about your last weekend, just one moment from it. One thing you did, one thing you ate, one place you went, one thing you felt. Got it? Now describe it in 3 sentences in English. 3 sentences, that's all. You can write it in a notebook. You can record a voice note on your phone. You can even write it in the comments below this video. I would love to read it. Use this structure if it helps. This weekend the best part was. 3 sentences, one moment, that's your mission. And if your brain says, but my weekend was boring, nothing happened, remember what we talked about. The cup of coffee by the window, the film you finally watched, the long sleep you really needed. Those are moments. Those are stories. Write them down. In English, 3 sentences. You can do this. Word tour. All right, my friend. Time for word tour, our slow vocabulary walk through today's most useful words and phrases. Take your time with these. Repeat after me if you want. The more you say them out loud, the faster they become yours. First phrase, sleep in. To sleep in means to wake up later than usual. You don't set an alarm, or you turn it off, and you stay in bed longer. I slept in on Saturday, and it was wonderful. We slept in because it was a holiday. Sleep in, sleep in. Next phrase, catch up. To catch up means to do things you didn't have time for before. You can catch up on sleep, on work, on a TV show, on rest. I spent the weekend catching up on sleep. I finally caught up on that show everyone's been talking about. Catch up, catch up. Next word, productive. If a day or weekend was productive, you did a lot of useful things. You got things done. I had a surprisingly productive Sunday. I cleaned, cooked, and finished some work. I didn't feel very productive this weekend, but that's okay. Productive, productive. Next phrase, have a lazy day. To have a lazy day means you rested, did very little, didn't push yourself. It's not negative. Sometimes we need lazy days. I had a really lazy Saturday, and I don't regret it at all. We just had a lazy day at home. It was perfect. Have a lazy day. Have a lazy day. Next phrase, get up to. What did you get up to? This means, what did you do? It's a casual, friendly way to ask about someone's time. What did you get up to this weekend? We didn't really get up to much, just stayed home. Get up to, get up to. Next phrase, treat yourself. To treat yourself means to do something nice for yourself. Something a little special. Not expensive necessarily, just something that feels good. I treated myself to a long bath and a good book on Sunday. I treated myself to a piece of cake at that new cafe. Treat yourself, treat yourself. Next word, unwind. To unwind means to relax after stress or a busy period. Your body and mind slow down. You let go of tension. I really needed the weekend to unwind after such a stressful week. I like to unwind by watching something easy in the evenings. Unwind, unwind. Next phrase, run some errands. Errands are small practical tasks you need to do going to the post office, the supermarket, the pharmacy, the bank. To run errands means to go and do these tasks. I spent most of Saturday running errands, boring but necessary. I need to run a few errands before the week starts. Run errands, run errands. Next word, spontaneous. If something is spontaneous, it was not planned. It just happened in the moment. We made a spontaneous decision to drive to the coast on Sunday. It was one of the best days. I'm not usually spontaneous, but I'm glad I said yes. Spontaneous, spontaneous. Last phrase, recharge. To recharge means to get your energy back. Like charging a phone, you fill yourself back up after being empty. I really needed the weekend to recharge. I feel so much better now. A quiet weekend at home is the best way for me to recharge. Recharge, recharge. Those are your 10 words and phrases for today. Sleep in, catch up, productive, have a lazy day, get up to, treat yourself, unwind, run errands, spontaneous, recharge. Can you use one of those in your 3-sentence weekend mission? I think you can. Closing. All right, we are almost at the end of today's episode. And before I go, I want to say something. You pressed play today. Maybe you were tired. Maybe you almost didn't. Maybe you had 100 other things to do. But you chose this. You chose to spend this time on your English, on yourself. That's not small. That's actually really strong. Language learning is not a sprint. It's a long, slow walk. Some days you cover a lot of ground. Some days you just take one small step, but every step counts. Every episode you listen to, every sentence you write, every word you try, it adds up. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep walking. And I really am proud of you for being here. Okay, your mission, 3 sentences about your weekend. Write it in the comments. I genuinely want to read them. Tell me where you're listening from, what time of day it is for you, and one thing from your last weekend. I'll be reading every comment. If today's episode helped you feel a little more confident, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with one friend who is learning English. It means so much, and it helps more learners find us. This has been your English podcast. I'm Sarah, and I'll see you in the next episode. Keep walking. You're doing better than you think. Bye for now.